What's that? Who there? Whoa.
If you had to write a startup manifesto with 5 of the most important key lessons or pitfalls to avoid when starting out building a company, what would they be?
Yeah, so I touched upon one is learn to hire well, right? So really talk to people who've done it before, read different books that are on hiring, build scorecards, understand the interview process, and then don't just kind of like take their word. Find out what works for you and your company. I think that's really important. I think a lot of overachieving people are like, and I'm definitely guilty of this too. It's like, oh, let me just learn what this person has to say and just apply it on top of what we're doing. It's like that will never work. So like feel out what works for you. And then secondly, then like learn to onboard well too, right? So hiring well doesn't mean anything if then you don't put that person in a position to be successful. So if you think that person is going to need 2 more people underneath them and they're not going to be successful without that, and in the interview process, it's pretty clear that that's something that is going to happen and you don't have the budget for those additional 2 people, like, then why are you hiring this other person right now? Like either wait or dedicate the resources if you have them. So I think that's really important, right? Hire well and onboard well are 2 really important things. One thing that I think I learned that halfway through Felix Gray is to really be adamant about doing one-on-ones. So I'm at this point a very big believer that while there's work that gets done and there's strategy and there's tactics and people are executing, people are thinking strategically, like at the end of the day, everyone is a human being with like emotional needs that's behind all that other stuff, right? So if you don't have a one-on-one time every week or 2 weeks with direct reports that allows them like a space to, you can talk strategy, you can talk tactics, but you can also talk emotions. You can talk about career growth. You can talk about different things that are affecting them. It's kind of like having like if you have like an old computer that just like you're constantly like throwing on the ground and all this other shit and it doesn't really work very well, like, yeah, it's not going to run all the programs you want to run very well, right? You got to take care of that stuff first. And I think that what is important is to give a space for people to be able to bring those things up where they don't, if you just say, hey, come to me if you ever have any problems, people don't come to you because they're like, hey, like they're like, David's busy. He's like, doing this, doing that. I'm always running around. Like my calendar looks crazy. And they're like, I'm not going to bother him. And then it just lets the problem continue to persist. And that's never good, right? So having a space that really is a safe space, that is a conversation between you and your direct reports, I think is like, that was one of the most important things that I ever really did. I'd say that the fourth thing is, and I'm still very bad at this and I just try and get better at it every day, is listen first. So I definitely have the tendency to, I like to talk. I'm opinionated. I kind of process pretty quickly. So like I'll jump in and that's not really a good thing. Like what I hate is if I'm in a meeting and all of a sudden it's like a dialogue between me and one other person and there's 3 other people on the sideline. And that's usually my fault because I'm not taking the time to listen first. And what I found helps me there is I just have a little notebook and I'll take notes. And that way I'm not kind of saying what's on my mind. I have it to bring up later. I'm not going to forget it, but it gives people the opportunity to speak beyond just me. And then I think if there was like a 5th thing, celebrate the wins. Like there can be bad shit going on, but there's also going to be good stuff going on, right? So recently, like, we were dealing with like a not great update meeting a couple weeks ago, and there's a couple different issues going on. At the same time, my VP of sales said, "Hey, like she announced like we're going into Nordstrom's," and she kind of did it. The tone of the meeting was a little bit more like people are like, "Oh man, like this is the problem right now. We're gonna have to fix this," and she kind of said, and all of a sudden, me and my CEO were like, "Yeah, we got a Nordstrom's. That's awesome!" And everyone like it listened the whole meeting, and everyone was super psyched. And I think that like it's a young company. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. You're going to have to roll the punches. But if you celebrate those wins, everyone is going to feel a lot better, and they're going to feel a lot more motivated to like win the next time, right? Because it's actually getting celebrated, and people want to feel happy at the end of the day.